Welcome everybody, my name is Aveline, and I'm going to be giving a talk today on the different style of parenting. The other day, I was walking through the grocery store, and as I turned the corner into the aisle, I heard a piercing scream that immediately made me turn my head. And there, at the other end of the aisle, there was a mother standing over her child as he kicked and screamed as if he was in agony. And I watched as he hit her and he kicked her as she tried to pick him up and force him to walk away from the candy that he was so desperately trying to make an appeal for. Isn't that something that we've all seen at one point or another? And doesn't it just make you want to have a child of your own? According to the New York Times, in an article titled "The Age That Women Have Babies, How a Gap Divides America," published on August 4, 2018, it states that the average age at which women have children is 26, and the average age at which men have children is 31. Because Delta College has such a wide variety of ages, it has such a big diversity, it's possible that you or someone you know in your classes could be the next person to become a parent. Have you thought about what kind of parent you would be? Today we're going to learn about the different styles of parenting. We will be discussing what the different styles of parenting are. We will discuss what the advantages are and what the disadvantages. First, let's talk about what the different styles of parenting are. There are four major ones: authoritarian, permissive, neglectful, and authoritative. The authoritarian style of parenting is what we would describe as the most strict. According to Marriages and Families, Intimacy, Diversity, and Strength, published in 2014 and written by David H. Olson and Associates, University Professors of Family Life, parents who use the authoritarian approach impose rigid rules for their children and expect total obedience. These parents are willing to enforce and demand that their children listen to them. Another parenting style is the permissive style. Permissive parents tend to allow their children to do as they wish, and they make very little demands from their children. In Child from Birth to Adolescence, published in 2013, Gabriela Martorell, a developmental and evolutionary psychology professor at Virginia Wesleyan College, states that parents who use the permissive style are non-controlling and tend to be indulgent with their children. Next is neglectful and uninvolved parenting. In June 2017, the American Psychological Association stated that neglectful parents are not responsive or available for their children. These parents are more interested in themselves than in their children. And the fourth parenting style is authoritative. Authoritative parents set limits for their children and build close bonds, as well as try to do their best to be good role models. Tracy Totner, an early childhood educator, published an article for Michigan State University on January 19, 2017, where she discussed that parents who use the authoritative style are aware that open communication with their children is important, but they're also willing to provide the support that their children need. Now that we have discussed the different styles of parenting, let's talk about the advantages of the different styles of parenting. There are two main advantages, and they present themselves in the form of positive social development and positive emotional development. And these positive behaviors of development typically develop in households that use the authoritative and the permissive parenting styles. Parents are the first ones to engage and teach their children about how to interact with others. In Marriages and Families, Intimacy, Diversity, and Strength, Olson and his associates mention that authoritative and permissive parenting styles lead to children who are outgoing and energetic. And these children are willing to have open conversation with their parents and others because they have grown up in an environment that leads to trust. Children who grow up in authoritative households also tend to have positive emotional development. Gabriela Martorell, mentioned before, states in Child that these are the children that grow up feeling love and have self-control because they know what's expected of them. But they're also aware that if they ever mess up, they will not be put down, but instead will be helped with support and with warmth. Now that we have discussed the advantages of some of the different styles of parenting, let's talk about the disadvantages. And there are two main disadvantages: authoritarian and neglectful. And neglectful parenting styles leads to disadvantages in many social and emotional development areas. One negative social consequence that comes from having authoritarian or neglectful parenting is that these children see bullying as normal. In an article about authoritarian parents published on January 19, 2017, Tracy Totner talks about how children in these kinds of families are poor judges of character. Since they have experienced bullying behaviors at home, the children see bullying as something that everyone experiences on a normal basis. Another disadvantage that comes from authoritarian and neglectful parenting is negative emotional development. In Child, published in 2013, Mark Turtle states clearly that neglectful parenting leads to behavioral disorders in children, and they may become aggressive, distrustful, or easily irritable. Today, we learned about the different styles of parenting. We learned what they are, we learned about some of their advantages and some of their disadvantages. Remember that at the average age at which people become parents is 26 and 31. You or someone you know may be the next person to become a parent. If not now, maybe in the near future. What kind of parent will you be? Do you remember that mother that we talked about who had to make her child walk away from the candy that he wanted so desperately? With the knowledge that we have gained today, it will be easier to put ourselves in her place, in her shoes. And using the information that we learned today, we can decide for ourselves what kind of parenting style will work best for us and for our personal families. Thank you.